everyone, kumusta kayo amin? Shakni Chachie. Today we will be learning about Filipino shadow work in the context of Filipino psychology. The goal of this video is to introduce to you what shadow work is in relation to our culture and what are some resources and some guided questions to help you begin the work. So first, what is shadow work? Shadow work is a process through which an individual acknowledges the authentic parts of their personality that may have been repressed. In Zico Diwa's latest zine, Ang Ating Ninuno by Carl Cervantes, he gave us 5 words in the native language of Tagalog as a guiding question for us to begin to do the work. Alongside Alden and I, we began to translate these 5 words into Ilokano, Pangasinan, Kapampangan, and Cebuano-Visaya. The first word that I will be translating is paghahanda. In Tagalog, that means to be self-aware, self-awareness. When it comes to first starting to do the work, we have to prepare ourselves and give ourselves time and space to get to know who we are. And the very first thing that we do when we meet someone for the first time is ask them who they are. In Tagalog, we say, sino ako? In my native language of Ilokano, I would say, sadino ak or sino ak. And that basically means who I am. And that's the very first step in the work of shadow work, especially is getting to know who we are. And the grounding of it all is we begin to prepare ourselves to diving more deeper into understanding who we are. In Pangasinan, that is manprepara or panagprepara. For my Cebuano and Visayans out there, that is pagandam. And in Kapampangan, masadya. The second word is pagtitimpi. In Tagalog, that means repression and self-control. So after we have that sense of self-awareness, we move on to this self-control, this notion of being able to control ourselves and keeping ourselves from acting on our feelings. So repression is often the process that which we push down certain memories because of its difficulty to deal with, and we push things under the rug. So before we even do that, we have to really prepare ourselves. So number 1 really is important. That's why self-awareness needs to be the first step. But for my Ilocano friends out there, this is called panagtapel. In Visaya, that is punggi or pagpunggong. In Pangasinan, it is panagkontrol ed sarili or mananas. In Kapampangan, it's apigilan, and the root word is pigil. The third thing that I would be mentioning is pagsabog. In Tagalog, that means explosion or to burst. So we went from being self-aware, which is preparing ourselves, to pagtitimpi, which is self-control and depressing our emotions. And now, when it comes is pagsabog. You're overfull of something. You begin to explode because you're not letting yourself release those emotions. So you're exploding. People can explode and has a way of coping, but this is where shadow work is really important so that we are able to release our emotion in a healthy way. In Ilocano, that's panagpungtot. All my Ilocanos out there, especially with your parents, when you don't do something that they want you to do, you always hear takot nagpuntutan. So in Bisaya, that is niboto or pagboto. In Pangasinan, it is simabog or pimutok. In Kapampangan, it's memakbong or mamakbong, or the word here is pakbong. Disclaimer again, me and Alden, we don't speak any of these languages except for Ilocano and Pangasinan. So, and the next 2 words will be explained by Alden.
Pag-agaruga in Tagalog means to care or to look over, and this is typically used when referencing taking care of another child or another person. For example, if you're in a social setting and you see someone being a little bit rude, you might say that that person didn't really receive enough affection when they were growing up, or that the person who raised them didn't really do a great job in the first place. But this isn't necessarily entirely true. We shouldn't always assume someone's background or the situation that they grew up in. And so if you catch yourself thinking that, maybe take a second to reevaluate and give that person the benefit of the doubt. So the translation of pag-agaruga in Bisaya is pag-atiman. Pag-atiman. In Ilocano, the translation is panagdaribato. Panagdaribato. In Pangasinan, it's panagkumis or magkumis. panagkumis or magkumis. And in Kapampangan, it's pamanyesi or manyesi. Pamanyesi or manyesi. Paghilom in Tagalog means healing or closure. In the book, Cervantes suggests that if we are to care for our shadows, we must give it room to breathe. So what are the spaces or the things that you do that you feel like you can breathe? For me specifically, I really enjoy going on walks or really doing anything active, like going to the gym. I feel like when I do those things, my mind shuts down a little bit and I have definitely a little bit more room to breathe. So knowing those things that you can do for your mind or your shadow to breathe a little bit can definitely help with paghilom. So the translation of paghilom in Cebu-Visaya is naayo or naolian. Naayo or naolian. In Ilokano, it's panaglunit. Panaglunit. In Pangasinan, it's panag-abig or imabig. Panag-abig or imabig. And in Kapampangan, it's kakayap. Kakayap. So these are the 5 words or cultural values and their respective translations into the other Filipino languages. We hope that this helps spark conversation with the people around you. One of the main reasons why we made this video in the first place was to destigmatize mental health in terms of our own culture. So we hope that these words or values give you the opportunity to speak with others about what you're currently feeling, your own emotions, and what you're currently going through at that moment. Another hope that we have is that these words give you a chance to reflect upon yourself. The whole goal of shadow work is to acknowledge authentic parts of yourself that may have been repressed. But if we don't have words or names to describe parts of that behavior, we wouldn't acknowledge them in the first place. So we see this as an important first step. A first step in a journey to recognize parts of yourself that you may not be familiar with. And that's okay. I personally am still uncovering parts about myself every day and learning more about my culture, but I think it's important that we just start. So hopefully this video has helped you to reflect upon yourself and maybe see this as an important first step. But that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching. We're gonna link the book and everything else in the description down below. Definitely check that out. It goes more in depth about the 5 cultural values that we talked about and gives a little bit more context. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much, Chachie. This has been a really great collab. Definitely follow her on her social. It is Kasamanko. I'll put it somewhere over here. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one.